Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm super excited to have you all join us tonight. We've got a lot of different faces on our call tonight, and we have our very special guest, Melissa Darby, Diamond Ambassador with Plexus, and we're extremely thrilled. We're having a party over here. We're extremely excited to hear what she has to say, to hear her story. Some of you may or may not have heard her story before. If you haven't, it is absolutely chill bump worthy. I mean, absolutely. It's just a really, really good story. I love hearing her testimony, her and her husband's testimony. But I'm excited to hear, especially on this topic tonight, on influence and really how we help to attract the appropriate people or the right people to our team. And so without further ado, Melissa, I'll let you kind of share a little bit about your story.
Okay, well, thank you for having me on, first of all. It's always an honor to get to share, and this is my happy place. And I get to see faces and smiles, and I get to share my heart. I mean, this is, if I could do this and not have to talk to people all day about Plexus, it would make me so happy, because I love the training part of things and the teaching part. So I'm honored to be on, and thank you for asking. This is my absolute favorite part. And I'm seeing so many familiar faces from Super Saturday, Richmond. Hi. I just want to say hi to y'all, because y'all are like my babies, my special. That was such a fun experience, and I see a lot of y'all, which also tells me that most of you have heard my story, which can get long-winded. When I get passionate, I talk long. So I'm going to really try to be succinct with my story, because I'm so pumped to talk about influence. This is a topic that I've wanted to share several times. It's been in my mind. I've been rolling it around for months. And I was so excited. I sent her a few things and said, we can talk about this. And I was so excited when you agreed that influence would be a good topic. So this is something that I think is a key that is not talked about enough and needs to be focused on a lot more than it is. So just a quick overview on the story. And again, you cut me off if I start going too long. So I'm a Texas girl that moved to Little Rock about 5 years ago. And I moved from Texas to Little Rock to be closer to Nathan's family, but mainly because, and our son is 7 now, but at the time, our 2-year-old son was diagnosed with autism. He also has severe GI issues, to be specific, small bowel enteritis, which means it basically leaky gut is an easier way to say it. He has a very hard time breaking down food, and it affects his behavior. So I needed help. My husband was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when he was 8. Okay, so I knew that going in. I married him, loved him, diabetes and all, but it's an everyday disease. It's something that we manage every day. So between my precious husband with diabetes, my son that has regressive autism with the GI issues, my daughter is ADHD and has learning issues, and that just makes me a mess, a stress case, and a worried mom all the time. A worried wife, a worried mom. Statistics with type 1, they say the life expectancy can be reduced by 20 years for type 1 diabetics. So it's a real disease. And my husband and I are very close, and having these 2 precious kiddos with us, I need him to be alive. I'm like, I need you to be here to walk our daughter down the aisle. I need you to be healthy. I need you and want you to take care of yourself. He had a very stressful job, traveling a lot. And the bottom line is the right people need to say the right things to you, because I have a background in personal training. He knows that I care about health and wellness. Sorry. But sometimes hearing those things from a spouse or from a best friend is like, want. When he went to his endocrinologist and got a kick in the tail, and when his doctor said to him, you've got to make changes now. It's not about if, it's when these consequences are coming. You need to change, or you're going to have some serious complications very early in life. And the one linked relative that he had, who is now deceased, was his uncle, and he passed away at 41. Well, my husband's 39. It still makes me want to cry. So your why should make you cry, right? So my why was all about helping my husband get healthier. But I didn't want anything to do with network marketing. No, no, no. No, thank you. Next, please. And when Suzanne Clinton, a friend of mine that is definitely an influencer, I'm going to share a little bit about how she particularly got me and helped get me involved with Plexus. When Suzanne reached out, it was brand new. No one knew about Plexus in Little Rock at all. And it was really being shared as a weight loss product. That was a turnoff for me. Yes, I was looking for weight loss for my husband, but I'm looking for a health and wellness product that is going to get him healthy from the inside out. Well, I'm a researcher and I have to read all the labels for my son with food. So I thought, I kept seeing it on Facebook and I just wanted to know a little bit more about this Plexus stuff. So in my research and Suzanne sharing as well, we found out that guess what? Plexus helps diabetics. And really it helps everyone because blood sugar regulation is key to metabolic health. It's key to weight loss. It's key to diabetics. It's really the key to so many things that when your metabolism is correct and when your body's in balance, everything can work the way it should. And that really intrigued me because honestly, we were out of options. We had tried so many things and with him, the weight would just come right back on and we were out of options. So I will be totally honest and say that we decided to try Plexus out of desperation, but sometimes God takes you to that place because that's your only choice. And at that time, it felt like Plexus was our only choice. But what I didn't know was that it was the best choice that we ever made in our life. Fast forward to today, he has lost 40 pounds. He has reduced his insulin by almost 50%. Now, we're not talking about a type 2 diabetic. We're talking a type 1. His pancreas is dead, not working. You just don't hear numbers like that. So Plexus has truly been a miracle. And not only that, and there's more details to this story, but one thing that I want to share, especially now and today, is that he has maintained those results for over 3 years. So you have to have a product that works and helps people. But if it maintains results, I mean, that's icing on the cake. So I just want to share that the business has changed our life, but the products have changed our life. And here we are 3 years later. My husband's retired. He's home. He's a thommy. I call him a professional thommy. That was not even on the prayer list. My husband's always been designed to be the provider. I worked because we needed help with the medical bills. And now here we are, and this has become so much bigger. We're blessing our family, and thousands of lives have been changed in the process, and it started with 2 people. So that's still the long story. It wasn't very short, but okay. So moving on, I'm so excited to talk with you guys about influence. What I want us to do tonight is not think about all of the other people when you go, oh, well, I know about what she's doing wrong, and I know what she's not doing this, and this person on my team's not doing this, and I know that if she were doing this, then I would be diamond. We're not going there. We're going to turn the mirror around. We're going to look at ourselves and start with that. If you think about a person or people that have influenced you to try Plexus, in your mind, who are they and what comes to mind? On a scale of 1 to 10, right now, before we get into it, I want you to answer the question, how much of an influencer are you? So if you want to write that down on a Post-it note or just put it right here, I'm just asking you to really think about your business and where you're at and if you feel like you're an influencer. And if so, how much? Now, the definition of influence is the power to change or affect someone or something, and the power to cause changes without, I love this part, without directly forcing them for it to happen, without forcing a person or thing, and the result is in an important way. So my favorite part about influence is that it talks about affecting a person in a positive way without directly forcing them. Now, at times, it feels like we are forcing this, doesn't it? I mean, I know it does for me. But one thing that has been consistent in my journey is when I've talked to people that have reached out, when I've shared about Plexus, one thing that they have said is, I've seen Plexus, I've heard about it, but you have never pushed me to do it. So you can directly influence people without forcing them. So you can share. There's so much that you can do to bring people's attention to you, but you don't have to force it. And that to me is the difference between influencing Plexus on people and bonding Plexus on people. So as you're turning that mirror around and thinking about where you are on the influencer scale, I'm just going to throw out a few names that really come to mind when I think about influence, who's influenced my business, who's impacted my business. And we're all going to have different people. But here are a few of my influence heroes. Sarah Marble. I mean, I think that goes to for everyone would probably have that on their list. Celeste Wynn, Jen Hawkins. So those are people in my upline. Chris and Susie McCall, Tara Castaneda, a diamond on our team. Michelle Robertson, one of our sapphires. Debbie Darby, my power partner, my love. Rebecca, her name was Rebecca Davis, now Rebecca Phelps. She's here in Little Rock. Suzanne Clinton, that's my sponsor. Timmy Yancey, I'm going to talk about her in a minute. Tamara Holloway, Emily Roberts, Danielle Pulley, and Sally Crosby. So those are just a few, and there's more. There are so many more, but I tried not to think too hard and just wanted to take who came to mind like that. And those are some people that do. Now, those personalities are so different. Brooke Matamoros is another one that's on our team that really stands out to me as a person with influence. So they have a lot in common, but they're also very different. Brooke and Angela Timeson, who just became an Emerald, both of them to me have more of an introverted personality. So I love that we've got a list of extroverts, but guys, we've got a list of all different types of people with all different types of backgrounds. We've got people with medical backgrounds. We've got people that never had a job before Plexus, and their job was to be a professional stay-at-home mom. So I love that there can be so many different things, that so many different people in so many different ways that you can be successful. But what they have in common is that they've boldly put themselves out there. They have shared with passion, and they have unapologetically said that they love Plexus, and they share that opportunity with every person they can. That to me is what makes that group special. I'm going to say it one more time. This is what they have in common. They boldly have put themselves out there. They've shared with passion, and they've unapologetically said that they love Plexus, and they share that opportunity with every person, every chance they get. Now, one of my absolute favorite personal development people is John Maxwell. And if you don't know him, you need him to be your boyfriend. You need to love some John Maxwell, because I love me some John Maxwell. I cannot get enough. I'm telling you, every single thing that he says is relevant to our business. He has a lot to say about influence. So this is going to be, a lot of what I'm sharing is going to be heavy from him. If you have it, you can Google John Maxwell and type in influence, and you will get, he shares all of his information online. So you don't have to go buy all these books. You can jump online and you can learn right now and today and start getting some of these personal development tools. But what he says about influence is that leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. So that question becomes, well, how can I gain that influence? Well, there's two very distinct types of influence. There's borrowing and there's earning. So just hang with me, it's going to make sense. So when it comes to the question of gaining influence, think about this. Every leader either borrows influence or they earn it. When people give you permission to lead in their lives because of your actions, because they trust you, that means that you've earned their influence. When people give you permission to lead in their life because of your words, you've borrowed influence. So we've got borrowing versus earning. And we want to earn people's influence. But the good news is for those that are just starting off in your journey and saying, what is she even talking about? How am I going to earn influence? I'm just learning. Well, guess what? I borrowed a ton of influence when I started Plexus, and I'm still borrowing influence. I think I've earned influence as well because I've earned trust with people, and I try so hard to be relational and build relationships of trust, because at the end of the day, this is relationship marketing. So that to me is earning leadership. And when you earn leadership, you earn trust. And when you earn trust, you earn influence. But I borrowed a lot of influence when I got started, because 3 years ago, we didn't have all of these success stories. We didn't have a Darby team. Celeste and Jen were going Ruby and promoting to senior Ruby when I got started. So there weren't, Sonia Dudley and Helen got started a year before I did. So all of that to say, when you don't have that leadership, you can borrow it from people that do, and that is okay. But your ultimate goal is that you want to earn influence from people. Now I've got some ways that I can help kind of bring this all full circle. But I want you to think about earned influence is like money in your pocket that you have earned. Like you've gone to work, someone's put a paycheck in your hand, you have earned that influence. Now, if you've borrowed influence, it's more like, hey, could I borrow $5 and I'm going to pay you back? We both have money in our hand, but one we've earned and another we've borrowed. And you need both. I want y'all to understand that it is okay to borrow influence, but ultimately you want people to trust what you're saying, because if they are borrowing influence from you, they are only going to hear you and hear your truth for a short amount of time. And that's when you have attrition and white lines. And that is a part of this business. But I'm telling you, if you can earn influence with the right people right now, that turnover rate will be far less and it will happen quick. Now, it is a part of network marketing. Attrition is a part of Plexus, but I do think that there's a key to keeping attrition much smaller. We've got new team members, okay? So how do we earn from new team members maybe that don't know us? Well, everyone wants to work with someone who delivers the goods, who can be trusted, and people that have a track record of success, integrity, they have talent, they draw people in. So when new people join, they are looking for that standout person to follow. So be thinking in your mind, who can I partner up with? Or who can I subscribe to their YouTube channel? Melissa Eichenhorst, that is another one. Whew, that girl is an influencer. As I'm talking, jot down some names of people that you know that you want to be like. People's business that you say, I want to take great parts of their business. Start following them on YouTube. You also want to keep a close eye on teams that have people that are leaving. The higher the turnover in an organization, the more likely the leaders are borrowing influence rather than earning it. So people that earn influence keep their best people and they attract new ones. So this is the key. There are 7 factors that can influence. How do you influence? I don't know, that's a good question, but I have 7 ways that you can influence an influencer or bring an influencer onto your team. One thing that's so important is your character, who you are. True leadership always begins with the inner person. So what kind of person are you, and who are you portraying to be when you're talking to people about Plexus? The great news about this is that we have a company that is built on integrity. Plexus it's part of their mission statement. We are doing things the way that people don't do, I'm sorry, I just messed that up, that people do rarely but they want to do it right. I didn't say that correctly. But Plexus is a company of integrity. And I look at Alec Clark, who was our chief marketing officer, and he's now the president of Plexus. And he's an influencer. Mm-hmm. And he knows he is, but he does it in such a humble way. He has true integrity, and he gets out on the road every year and travels all over the US and wants to be in it with people. So influencers are people that are not afraid to put themselves out there. That is something that is so important. They've got to be people that you can trust. If you can't trust the person, you're definitely not going to go into a business partnership. Influencers also have relationships. It's about who they know. When you build the right kind of relationships with the right people, you can become a real leader in your organization. So a great visual is that I started Plexus just like you did. I paid $34.95 and I became an ambassador. My mother-in-law did the same thing. We were a team of two when we started the Darby team page. There are over 33,000 ambassadors on the Darby team now. But guys, I have personally sponsored about 70 people in 3 years' time. I definitely am not one of the guru influencers, but when I talk to people like Timmy Yancey or Danielle Pulley, Michelle Robertson, they have sponsored so many people. And the reason why is because people know them. They are people that stand out in the crowd. So when you're thinking about who you want to bring on your team, of course, you want to think about people that need this opportunity. And of course, you want to think about people that you can help change their life. But I've had a mind shift, and I do that, but I also consider people with character, people that know a lot of people that are plugged in on social media, people that know what they're talking about when it comes to health and wellness, because here's why. When they join your team, they'll understand that detox is a part of the process. They will invest in their health. They won't bat an eye at the sign-up fee. They're already invested in health and wellness, and they know that this is the right vehicle and the right tool to help them and to help others. So you pass up a lot of those blocked objections when you start with influencers. So you've got to have all kinds of people to really have a well-rounded team. There is not anybody I know that has all of these attributes. But what I try to do is I try to lean on people that I know that have strength where I am weak. And I try to surround myself with influencers and people that I want to be like when I grow up someday. So a few other things to think about, because that knowledge is important. What about intuition? Think about people that know, that kind of just have that feeling. Because people want to recognize influencers that can feel the right timing, or they can understand that this is the time with momentum. Intuition is a hard thing to describe. But if you think about those people, they tend to have that attraction built into them. I think about Timmy Yancey, and I don't know if y'all know her or not, but she is such an influencer. Now, she will tell you she doesn't know much about Plexus products. She just wanted to feel better and lose some weight. She is a crack up. But she is such an influencer. What she has done is she has shared her passion for fashion on social media, and she has a huge audience. And guys, if Timmy Yancey posts that this is the new trend, you will see people all over Little Rock dressing like Timmy Yancey, because she has made a name for herself. She's boldly shared where she has confidence, and people do what she does. I mean, I think about trends that we've had in Plexus. When Plexus launched the Edge, you looked for the right people to share their testimony so you can duplicate that action. People that you want to duplicate are influencers. And people that you want on your team are people that will duplicate your actions. Because a leader of one is no fun. And I think about that often. And one major roadblock that I have when I'm talking to people that are frustrated in their journey is they've said, I've read everything, I'm posting on Facebook all the time, but no one will follow me or duplicate my actions. That's where this is so important. Not only do you want to bring people onto your team that have the need for the products, but you want people that will also duplicate what you do. They need to be coachable. They need to be teachable and open to trying new things. Also, if you think about experience, the greater challenges that you faced as a leader in the past, the more likely followers are going to give you a chance in the present. So that's one area where Sarah Marble stands out to me. She has been open about her challenges in this business. She's been vulnerable, and she's talked about the fact that she's had to rebuild a team before. But what that tells me is that she's done it, she's doing it again, and she knows what she's doing. So being vulnerable will attract people to you as well. If you've always got it together and you know everything all the time, I mean, there's a balance here. But I do think being vulnerable creates a level of influence with people because you're not afraid to be a real person. And we want to attract those type of people to follow us as well. All leaders are going to face obstacles in the office, at home. I mean, my gosh, with our kids, I do not feel like I'm an influential parent a lot of summer days. But as we go through those struggles, that's where we learn and that's where we grow as leaders. When we get through those experiences, followers are going to have more respect for where we are, for what we've done, and for where we can take them in the future. Another thing is past success. Past success doesn't guarantee future success, but it makes people feel more comfortable with being led and being influenced. And then abilities. What can they do? The bottom line for followers is what is a leader capable of. People want to know whether a person can lead a team to victory or not. So that is where I go, look at the number of jewels that so-and-so has on their team. Okay, they have proven that they have the ability to lead. So the bottom line is, as a leader, what are you capable of bringing to the table? Why would people want to join you? Are you a person that can lead them to victory? Can they duplicate your action? That's something to think about. Leadership is influence, nothing more and nothing less. Show that you can lead your team to victory, and you will have positive influence with your followers, and you will attract leaders to your team. So in closing, I just want y'all to know that it is not about who you know, it's about who your networks know. When I brought on Blair Lavoie as a level 1, she was my first real ambassador to join. She did not have this miracle testimony, okay? Her why was she wanted to help her mom get healthy. But that girl knows everyone. She brought Leslie on, who brought Jamie on. Those girls know everyone. And when she posts on Facebook, people listen. Blair can sell the dream. She shares the dream. She doesn't have a Nathan Darby testimony like I have, but she has a way of sharing the dream of Plexus and making it tangible for people. So I think it's always neat to go back and think, okay, of these influencers, why are they influencers? My biggest challenge to you now is to go back to your contacts and really think about who is on your list. If everyone on your list is people that need the products, that's great. You're going to have a lot of great customers. But do you have dream teamers on your list? Who are you trying to attract? Who do you want to be on your team? We need customers, but we don't want a team of only customers. We want influencers. We want people that know what's going on, that people like to follow, that people listen to, people that have experience. Those are the kind of people. You have 2 of those on your team and you can be a diamond. So it is not about having 200 people on your team. It's about having 2 of the right people on your team. So that's, any thoughts?
That's
Any
awesome.
questions?
Real quick, I want to ask if you would run down, just for people who might not have caught one of the different 7 tips that you had mentioned about how to attract influencers.
Absolutely. And one thing to know is I got this information from John Maxwell. Okay. So if you don't have his book, there are 7 factors that influence, but let me go back because I've got a few of his books written down. He has 21 Laws of Successful Leadership. That was one that I've actually done a book study with people. 7 Ways to Influence. So those are 2 great books to start with. And you can Google John Maxwell and you'll be able to find his website. Okay, but yes, I've got the 7 factors that influence influencers. Number 1 is character, as in who they are. Number 2 is relationships, who they know. Number 3 is knowledge, what they know. Number 4 is intuition, what they feel. And that one is a little bit harder to describe, but that's the people that know what's coming. That's where people are visionaries and are able to say, I see where Plexus is going to take me in my life. And I have a vision for that. It's so cool when you bring people onto your team that get it and get it quickly. Mm-hmm. Those are people that have strong intuition. Number 5 is experience, where they've been. Number 6 is past success, what they've done. And number 7 is ability, what can they do and what will they do?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I had them mixed up myself, so perfect.
I know that was a lot of information at a short period of time, but I really want you guys to think about who is your audience, who are you talking to, and I want you to go back to that question that I asked you at the very beginning. Now that you hopefully understand a little bit more about what it takes to be an influencer, the type of people that are huge influencers, and say, how much of an influencer do you feel like you are right now? And if you don't have an answer that you like, what can you do right now to change that in your business? And if that is going back and listing out the 10 influencers that you know in your area, write it down. You don't have to be best friends with them. You don't have to even know them well. A lot of the influencers on our team I knew from someone else, but we weren't close friends. That's okay. Everyone seems to know them though, right? So go back and think about what you can do differently when you share the opportunity with people. Don't be afraid to lead with the business. I am so comfortable leading with product, but I've put myself I've stretched my comfort zone, and I'm trying so hard to lead with the business opportunity when I meet somebody that I know they can do this business, and I want them to do this with me. Of course, I share the products, but what I'm looking for from them is I want them to understand quickly the vision of Plexus, because they're going to be your runners. That's going to be the person that I know is going to jump all in. And a lot of times too, these are the hardest people to bring on board because they're very skeptical, and because typically they have the mindset that they're all in. These are people that don't do things halfway. So part of my hesitation was, oh my gosh, I know that if I do this, I'm going to be all in. Am I ready for that? And it is funny because you see people that start, and then you see when it clicks, they jump all in. Mm-hmm. So you want to find those people that are going to be all in for you and all in for your team.
Absolutely. And Melissa, if you don't mind, if you would share and you might just be recapping with this, but you mentioned going back. So one of the ways that we can kind of self-reflect and see, how we are influencing other people. And you mentioned to go back and make a list of the top influencers, maybe the top 10 that are in your community. What are some other main things that we could do to help to kind of gauge our influence and then help work on it?
Well, I think looking at that list of the 7 traits and trying to see where you line up with that and relate it specifically to plexus. But I think a great thing to do is to look at your current team and look, you need followers. That's what's going to give you the numbers. That's where our explosive momentum comes into place. There is a place for everyone, and I want that to be heard too. We are focusing on influence tonight, but I want y'all to know that there is a place for everyone on your team. But if you're specifically saying, I want to start really recruiting those all-in people, take a look at your current team and identify, do you have people like this? And one of the things that we talked about is that influencers follow other influencers. So if you've had success and they want success, they're going to be more likely to follow you. If you've been successful in the past, you're going to be, the likelihood of being successful in the future is higher. So when I look at teams, honestly, it's so much easier to lead with the business now that I've had success in this. When I first started out, it was harder for me to share plexus and try to explain what it was when I didn't have that story. That's when I borrowed influence. That's when I borrowed Celeste's story. You know what? Let me tell you about a girl on my team. She's the top earner of plexus. She's been a stay-at-home mom, and that's where I borrowed that influence. I didn't have it yet. That's okay. You don't have to have it yet. It's important to pick and choose who you use, who you borrow from, and share it in a way that's relatable. Because if you share their story, they're going to look at you and they're going to believe what you're saying. The bottom line is just what you share, how you share it, and the passion that you have behind it. Because if you are not 110% in, and if you don't completely believe in what these products can do and what this company can offer, that's going to create doubt before the person even listens to what you have to say. So that's why I said earlier that group of people are unapologetically bold, love plexus, and share it every opportunity they get. So if you're not doing that, I'm going to challenge you to stretch way out of your comfort zone and start sharing plexus with literally everybody that you come into contact with, because that is what is going to give you the experience to share confidently without excuses and have it down, just doing it over and over again.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for recapping that, Melissa.
Of course.
I love this topic. I've been talking about this topic, talked with my pastor about this topic last night, and quoted John Maxwell, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And
right.
He said, absolutely, I absolutely agree. And so it's in all facets of our life. We can really take these nuggets of information and really implement them in every aspect of our life, in our jobs, in our homes, with our families, with our friends. And so I just want to thank you so very much for taking so much time out of your evening.
Oh, you're welcome. And if y'all have any follow-up questions, or if you want to talk one-on-one, or if you're intrigued but need maybe a little more guidance with this, that's what I'm here for. So please do not hesitate to reach out. I love y'all. This is my favorite part. And I think my hope and prayer is that every one of you knows that you can be an influencer, that all types of people can. It's just making the decision to do it. So I love y'all, and I thank you for the opportunity to share tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Melissa, and y'all have a great night.
Okay, you too.